And it wasn't like, I might have done that before. Honestly, cannot quite recall. Happy-go-lucky for the most part, even though it's dealing with like murder, you know? What do you mean? What books do I need to read by the end of the year? Well, hello. Welcome back to my channel. Just Shauna here to talk about some friggin' books. In the form of the mid-year book tag, mid-year book freakout tag, whatever the hell everyone is calling it. And I think maybe there's like two that get combined sometimes too. I might have done that before. Honestly, cannot quite recall. But I need to find the tag questions because I, of course, did not write them down. All right, I found the questions. Let's go. Number one is best book you've read so far in 2024. I'm thinking of a couple, but okay, let's see. I mean, I read City of Girls, I think, already this year, so there's that. Did I? I think I did. I also reread I'll Give You the Sun, which is 5 stars for sure. I reread The Railway Children by E. Nesbit, which, like, realistically isn't actually even a 5-star, but, like, the childhood nostalgia is real, and that was one of my favorite books as a kid, so that one I gave 5 stars. But again, a reread. Are those the only 5 stars? Yeah, I've only had 4 5-star ratings this year, and 3 of them are rereads. Have I read City of Girls yet this year? Oh my god, I have not. Oh, it was late last year, I think, that I did that reread. Anyway, so for new books, the best one so far this year that as far as my ratings, I rated A Tyranny of Queens by Foz Meadows, 5 stars. But then I also just recently read When the World Tips Over by Jandy Nelson. I had a NetGalley e-arc for that, and I didn't give it 5 stars, but like I could. I think I didn't give it 5 stars because I'm comparing it to I'll Give You the Sun, which isn't fair. I don't know. Either When the World Tips Over by Jandy Nelson or A Tyranny of Queens by Foz Meadows. One of those two. Number 2, best sequel you've read so far in 2024. I mean, A Tyranny of Queens is a sequel. That's a duology. So that one I guess, but I did also just read a NetGalley arc of The Ending Fire by Sara El-Arifi, and I did not give that one 5 stars. It wasn't quite as good as I wanted it to be, but it was still good, and it would be up there as far as like sequels for sure. But A Tyranny of Queens still wins. Honestly, if I'm not going to pick A Tyranny of Queens though, Esarhaddon by Michael J. Sullivan, because that was the finale of a trilogy as well, and that stuck the landing for me personally a little bit more than The Ending Fire did, but that still wasn't 5 stars either. That was 4.5. Number 3 is new release you haven't read yet, but you want to. And one that's out already? I want to read the new Darcy Little Badger one. That's on my anticipated release. I don't know how to... Shine Lendy? I'm sure I'm saying that wrong. Sheehan Lendy. I want to read that, but I haven't gotten to it yet. Then the rest of that, the Honey Witch was one, but that one is like, yeah, I want to read it, but I'm not like that into it. I think She and Lindy by Darcy Little Badger is probably the one I want to read the most that is out already. There's still stuff to come out later this year. Oh, number 4, most anticipated release for the second half of the year. I mean, When the World Tips Over by Jandy Nelson and The Ending Fire by Sara El-Arifi both come out in September. I've read them now, though, so I'm not anticipating them any longer. So then I think The Lotus Empire by Tasha Suri, for sure. That's the finale of that trilogy as well. Number 5, biggest disappointment. Oh, man. Let's see. You know what? I think it's got to go to the first book I completed this year in January. I didn't start it in January, I don't believe. And I think because I was waiting for like 2 or 3 years for this sequel. It's book 2 in a trilogy. Warrior of the Wind by Suyi Davies Okungbawa. I really, really liked Son of the Storm. And this second book really, man, I'm still going to pick up the third book to see, just because the first one was 5 stars. But the second one was 2.5. Very, very disappointing. Like, The Ending Fire didn't quite stick the landing how I wanted, like as far as like a sequel or just a book in general that I was highly anticipating. There was like a slight letdown because the first 2 books in that series were both 5 stars and this third one wasn't, and there were elements of it that really bugged me, but it was still 4.25. stars. You know what I mean? So it was like a little disappointing, but it's still very highly rated for me. So having a series go from the first book being 5 to me, and maybe on reread it would be like 4.5, I'm not sure, but above 4. And then the sequel, the second book, being 2.5, wildly disappointing. Number 6, biggest surprise. The one that's popping into my head is the Foz Meadows duology, An Accident of Stars and A Tyranny of Queens. That probably was like the most surprising, I think. Let me look. Let me go. Lone Women by Victor Laval was pretty surprising too. Again, I don't pick books up expecting to hate them by any means, but there's definitely books that you pick up that you're like, I don't know. I'm intrigued by the premise and I hear really good things, but I just don't know that it's going to be for me. And I gave that one 4 stars, so I was pleasantly surprised with that. The Wings Upon Her Back by Samantha Mills, that's another one. I didn't love it unequivocally. It was 4 stars, but that's still pretty high for me. It's not one that I ever see myself rereading because of various elements to it, but it's a standalone fantasy, kind of sci fantasy, and I think it's really underhyped. I think more people should check it out. Yeah, I think though that An Accident of Stars and A Tyranny of Queens has to be. Number 7, favorite new author, either a debut author or just new to you. And, okay, a new one, because I've read from several faves this year. Maybe Foz Meadows, because I really, really enjoyed A Strange and Stubborn Endurance. I DNF'd the sequel to that one. More just the relationship. It's much more like romance. It's in the romance genre versus a fantasy book that does have some romantic subplots, like The Accident of Stars, that duology. Manifold Wars is what it's called. That one does have romances in it, but they're very much like subplots, versus A Strange and Stubborn Endurance, that duology is fantasy romance. And I really liked the first book, but the second one just, I wasn't loving the dynamic anymore, and so I DNF'd it. But then I read that duology and fully loved it, so I think I have to say Foz Meadows. 8, newest fictional crush. I don't really have like fictional crushes other than like Alexia Terabati forever. I can't really think of anyone that I would say would be like a crush. I'm trying to think of like new favorite characters. Plenty. I just can't think of any right now, apparently. There was someone from the Manifold Wars duology that I really liked. What was their name? I think it was Yenna. That's a name from that series, but I can't remember if Yenna is the character I'm thinking of. Whatever. Someone from there, probably. Oh, 9 is newest favorite character. I'm just skipping ahead. Also, what's his name from When the World Tips Over? It's Miles. Yeah, Miles Fall. Precious baby cinnamon roll. Love Miles. So that's my answer for that one. 10, a book that made you cry. This one did in one part in particular in the Dream House. I talked about it in my like wrap up where I talk about this book. But just that one part. And it wasn't like, When the World Tips Over by Jandy Nelson definitely made me cry a couple times. Jandy Nelson will do that. I honestly think A Tyranny of Queens made me tear up at one point also. I'm fairly certain. Oh, Esra Haddon made me cry a little bit as well. 11, a book that made you happy. When the World Tips Over. The Thursday Murder Club books, I've read now 2. I'm on the 3rd one right now, and those are just like, they're just cute and fun. I have heard that there is heartbreak to come, either in the 3rd book or the 4th book, I think, but generally they're like happy-go-lucky for the most part, even though it's dealing with like murder, you know. Oh, another one that made me happy, Twig by Scotty Young and Kyle Stram. So friggin' cute. Oh my god. It's like a middle grade, young adult little thing. And I've seen confusing stuff online on the website, on Scotty Young's website. I saw something that alluded to there's going to be more volumes of Twig, but then I've also seen stuff where it seems like it was just like, that's it. But I don't know, because this is volumes 1 through 5, and it's open-ended. I'm pretty sure there's going to be more, but I don't know. But it's just like, look at this artwork. It's so cute. Oh my god, I can't stand it. 12 is the most beautiful book you have bought this year or received. Honestly, this one that I've gotten a couple of really cool ones from Goldsboro. That's where most of my like pretty books come from. I like the cover of Twig personally. I think this is beautiful. The colorful shit. But I did just get this one from Goldsboro, I think last month, I think in June. And this is one that I don't know if it sounds like it's gonna be up my alley, but look at this fucking book. This is just my aesthetic here, the color scheme in particular, and look at, oh my good God, like just stupid gorgeous. That's kind of cool too. But yeah, this color scheme here, the purple, pink, orange, blue, it is just my shit. I love it so much. And then number 13 is, what books do you need to read by the end of the year? I mean, a lot. What do you mean, what books do I need to read by the end of the year? My pile of possibilities, I have The Last Stormlord still, Upon a Burning Throne, The Rebel, The Wolf and the Whale, The Lost Queen, A Snake Falls to Earth, Saint Death's Daughter, and Blades of the Old Empire. Those are the ones on my pile of possibilities, which is kind of my like very loosey-goosey, year-long books I want to prioritize from my own TBR that I move around a lot and change a lot. But those are the ones that are still on there that I haven't gotten to. So I guess those would be the ones. There's so many other books I want to read also, though. Duh. And there we are. That's the mid-year book freak out tag. I've had an okay reading year, I feel, so far. There's been some bummers and then some good stuff. How many DNFs have I had so far? I've had 11 DNFs so far. So we're about on track. We're on track. And my average rating so far this year is 3.6, which is decent for me, I would say. And my owned TBR that I try to prioritize, my goal is to pick up 40 books from that, and I have picked up 22. And I mean pick up, and like if I DNF or I actually pick it up and I look at it and I decide to unhaul it, that counts as picking it up and doing something with it. Books that are for one of these reasons, I either read it, I DNF'd it, or I unhauled it, I have assessed them and they are no longer on my own TBR. So 22 out of 40, so I'm over halfway there. That's going to be all for now, though. As always, thank you so much for your time. Hope you all have a wonderful day, and I will talk to you later. Bye-bye.